welcome to Adventures of a Black Woman Sailor. I wanted to post an update since I haven't posted in a few weeks. I haven't made that much progress on my Recoring the Bow project. I have put a few layers of fiberglass down, and I have one left, just the bottom layer of the woven roving that's going to go overlap over the side of the deck, and I'm going to get to that soon. But I was away for a few days at Harken U, which is a training for my work where Harken is the major manufacturer of sailboat hardware and blocks and things like that, and they do training for employees of places that sell their products. So I was flown to Pewaukee, Wisconsin, and we got to attend extensive seminars and explanations of how all the machines work. We got to take apart and put together furlers, the Harken MK4 and ESP. And we also got to take apart and put together winches. This is me at the novice table. Then I worked my way up to the Unipower winch, which is the electric winch that had the most gears and was the most complex. Then when we got back to fisheries supply, I immediately started taking apart and putting together our winches. There's an Anderson and a Pontos. And after that, I went to my boat and I took apart my 1960s Bakelite winch, and here I am cleaning it with soap and water. I'm gonna oil the pawls and grease the gears. But the other projects I've been doing here are just trying to control leaks because Seattle is so rainy that I've spent hours wrestling with this port light gasket.
And as you can see here, I've finally got all but one of the corners in. It's really hard because when you put in one part, another part wants to come out. So you have to make very small movements. It's kind of like hunting an animal in the woods. And this is when I injured myself with a screwdriver. It's a flathead screwdriver that flung at my face when I was trying to put the gasket in from the outside. So I think I'm gonna have to swallow my pride and get a friend to come and help me because it's really a two-person job. You have to have somebody holding it in from the inside so that when you're messing around on the outside you don't ruin all your progress. And I also think I'm gonna use a hairdryer to soften up the rubber. And I also published an article in 48 Degrees North about my goal of becoming the first Black woman to sail around the world alone.
I wanted to thank some people who read my article and who wanted to donate some things. So I wanted to thank Robert Neefus. He's a U.S. Coast Guard captain, and he mailed me a massive box of nautical charts
of the South Pacific from 30 degrees north to 30 degrees south, and even though they're from the early 2000s, as he said, the rocks don't move.
And he's also been very helpful with giving me advice about how to install an engine, because that's going to be one of the next big projects that's coming up. So thank you, Robert. I also had a couple of my crewmates very generous.
Mark Prentice gave me a small spinnaker because he couldn't use it anymore. He's racing, and so it matters that it goes 1/20th of a knot slower, which doesn't matter to me at all because I'm just trying to get around, and the eye dimension is 10 feet shorter than the eye dimension of my boat, but that's okay because I figured I've never single-handed with a symmetrical spinnaker before, and it's just for training and I don't want to get overpowered. So I'm gonna shackle it to the headstay so it doesn't move back and forth. And I also wanted to thank Dave Creelan, who's another crewmate that I race with. He gave me some fenders, an anchor, a bosun's chair, and some rope and chain.
So thank you guys. It really helps a lot, and I feel like I'm probably going to be able to go around Vancouver Island with the resources I have. So that takes the stress off a little bit, and other than that, I've been spending some time at work when I am not able to come to the boat working on an electrical diagram. I I combined some ideas I had from about 20 electrical diagrams that I found on the internet and made my own electrical diagram, and this is what it looks like. And I also made an engine diagram out of a Perkins engine diagram that I found online, because I just tried to take the things out of it that were universal and make it for my Volvo Penta. I have a 18 horsepower Volvo Penta it's a 2000 series. I guess that makes the number like 2018 because I think that's how their numbers go. But my friend just found me a diagram online, so I think that I will just be able to use that diagram now. And I've been figuring out all the electrical stuff I need. I'm gonna get a Blue Sea, lots of Blue Sea stuff from work. So that's one of the next things I'm gonna do. And today, what I've been doing is damage control, because I was away and I have a tarp set up in the cockpit, and you can see it's on some 2x4s, and the 2x4s were not screwed together very well, so this one was getting wider and wider at the bottom, and this was falling off, and when I came, this whole one up here had fallen off, so there was water pooling on the tarp, and it wasn't very wise of me, but I shook off the water in the cockpit, forgetting that this hatch right here is because the engine still needs to be hoisted in. I'm eventually going to seal up this hatch with epoxy because water just pours around the edges. So when I shook off the water, I had a whole bunch of water pouring down the edges, and under the engine compartment is where I've been storing my cabin cushions for the Bieber while I'm working on that project. You can see these cushions are drying off, and I have 2 other cushions that are even in worse shape that are in my car. I'm going to take them home and figure out how to deal with them. I'm going to have to clean them and scrub them off somehow. Don't want to let that fester. So that's what I've been doing. I also have been on eBay a lot. I had a list of stuff that I wanted to buy, and I'm finding that I can buy these things for so cheap on eBay. I got a Uniden VHF radio and a Raymarine C80 multifunction display. I got a radar. I got a Raytheon Pathfinder, Raymarine, and I got this off Craigslist for $150. And the cord was cut. That was the catch. He had to cut it to take it out of the mast. But I found a brand new cord that was 10 meters long, and he was selling it for $200, and I managed to get it down to $100. So I basically got a radar with a brand new cord for $250. So that's great. And I was told that it worked. This guy, he's a fisheries customer. He seems pretty cool, but if it doesn't work or if there's any problems, luckily there are tons of parts for this radar on eBay, and I'm sure that either I could figure it out or talk to someone who knows about these radars and then figure out how to fix it if there's a problem. That's just how it is, and that's the budget I have, so I'm gonna have to fix things, and I accept that. And when I finish, I'll probably be happy about it, because if I'm gonna single hand around the world, I want to know every little inch of how this boat works and how my electronics work. So I think the fact that I'm having to do this now is really going to benefit me in the long run and could even save me. So thank you for watching. Here is the address for my 48 North article if anyone would like to read it, or if you don't already know about it.